The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 809. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have an amazing lady on the show today. She is an educator, an entrepreneur, and also a toddler mom, and I'm really excited to have her on and share her story with us today on self-confidence. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Yobe Qiu. Yobe, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
Hello, Sheena. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast here. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Yobe. I am a New York City girl who lived here my entire life and an educator who became a business owner. I own a few preschools and learning centers in New York City. And because of COVID, now I became a published children's book author. Very excited to chat with you all here.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And Yobe, what's your cultural background?
I am Chinese American.
Thanks for sharing that. And what'd be your favorite self-confidence quote?
I don't know if this is considered a quote, but this is the line that I kind of live by. Done is better than perfect. It just helps me kind of really keep me in the moment of just creating and doing more and not worry about being judged and not worry about being what's perfect or not. So I go by that quote a lot to remind myself to kind of push forward. I'm going to be okay. People are going to love it, whatever I put out.
Thanks for sharing that. And, I really love that quote. For me, I think it's a confidence quote, especially, as Asian women, we're such perfectionists, especially, how we're brought up. Everything has to be perfect to a T, but, perfection really kills us, right? It stops us from doing things. And, just that simple mantra that you have, done is better than perfect, helps us take action, regardless if it's the wrong action, because of course we're going to make mistakes. We're not perfect. We're going to learn from our mistakes. So I really love that quote, and I'm glad you mentioned that. And in your own words, how do you define self-confidence?
I think self-confidence have a lot to do with being 100% comfortable with who you are, what you want, and not being apologetic for any of the things that you really firmly believe in. My definition of confidence is being extremely believing in yourself, and it just kind of shines out on your personality and all the work that you do and you put out in the world.
Thanks for sharing that great definition. And I totally agree. Confidence really does start with believing in yourself, because if you don't have that belief, then you're not going to go out there and take the action that's needed to forge your own path, live your dreams, become the person that you want to be. So belief is really, really huge. And I know, sometimes we don't believe in ourselves, right? It's really hard for us. Sometimes we doubt ourselves. Sometimes we feel like we're not worthy, we're not enough, but we really have to start learning to believe in ourselves. And it takes, daily steps to do that and, daily work. But the more we keep doing it, building it day by day, the more we can start believing in ourselves and, going on to the next step, which is to either learn how to do things or just take action. So thanks for sharing that great definition. And Yobe, what was your life like before you discovered self-confidence?
Oh, that's such a great question, Sheena. Before the discovery of my self-confidence, I like to ask a lot of people for their input, for their advice, and just for the affirmation. I remember going to school and asking my teachers if this is good. But I kind of always wanted other people of authority or my friends to kind of tell me, oh, you look good, that shoe looks good, or that bag looks good, or your handwriting looks great, your homework assignment is very well done. I just kind of needed a lot of affirmation and some positive encouragement to keep me going all the way up until my college years. And even at home with my family as well, I like to have people, and it's very common, people kind of go through that stage until I found what it means to be confident and believing in myself. I became a very different person.
Thanks for sharing that. And I know we all try to find that affirmation from people knowing we're doing a good job. And sometimes it works. And sometimes we feel like we depend on it so much we don't end up doing anything. And it kind of loses our confidence when someone doesn't say what we're doing is a good job. But sometimes we have to learn from ourselves. Like, you have to kind of like block away the chatter and just go with your gut instinct, even if it's very scary or you feel like you're taking the wrong actions. Sometimes the wrong actions will lead you to the right actions. And, what was that point in your life when you realized you can be who you are today and have that confidence? What was that aha moment?
The aha moment came for me when I decided to start my own business. I was working for a very famous school in New York City, and it's a very sought after job. And I decided that I wanted to be my own boss. And I quit that job, and then I opened my first after school program. And that was when I made my money back. That was my aha moment. I can do this. It's extremely hard, but I worked every single day very hard and I succeeded. So that was major aha moment when I was able to be successful on my first project. I gained a lot of confidence to just keep going because I saw what hard work and what dedication can bring to me. And that changed my life forever.
Thanks for sharing that. That's great. You're able to share this, right? And that you mentioned it's hard work. Some people feel like, or some people like to glamorize entrepreneurship, but it's not pretty all the time.
It's not pretty most of the time. It's not pretty most of the time until we kind of really make it, quote unquote. But even then, it's extremely hard work.
Yeah, for sure. And, I like that you mentioned like it does take a lot of work. And if people just realize like it takes work, it's not always going to be pretty. You're going to have days where you want to give up, then you can realize like this is all part of the process and you just keep moving. And, because of what you've accomplished, what's your life like now?
Oh, my life is so free. I like to use the word free. And, I've never kind of thought about it this way until you asked the question, what is my life like now? I kind of make my own schedules. I can figure things out based on what I need and make decisions based on what I need to get done for that day. I don't really have anyone telling me what to do, how to do it. I feel like I don't need any more affirmation. I just need to put in a lot of thought and give it my best shot and launch whatever I want to launch and feel so good about it. I don't stress going to sleep, worry about the next day, worry about clients or children in my centers, but I just feel happy every single day living this life full of confidence.
Thanks for sharing that. And, to the woman who's listening to your episode, she may be in her own journey to self-confidence. What would be that one tip you'd give to her?
The one tip I'll give to them is really just do it. I want to bring this back to my aha moment when, when I was in school, I had a lot of mentors and everyone has all these wonderful tips they can give you. Just do it, ask questions, always ask. If you don't ask, you won't get any. And when I decided to start my first business, I did not have enough money for to pay my rent at that moment. And I asked the landlord to give me 50% off because I have a really big mission about educating the children in my community. And he said yes. And that's when that kind of just gave me a shot to become who I am today. So I'm forever grateful for my first landlord in my business. My advice for these women is really just put everything you know into action and try, because they have no idea and no one has an idea of what their future will hold, and might open a lot of opportunities for them.
Thanks for sharing those tips. And I love how you mentioned asking questions, because I'm also a firm believer of asking questions, even if I don't like, if it, for some people, they feel like asking a question makes you look stupid. But for me, it's like, if I don't know, I'm going to ask, right? And sometimes, just a simple form of asking, you just never know what doors might open for you. Like you mentioned, right? You asked your landlord to get half price off your rent, which is great because I know New York City is very expensive. So that's a huge savings on your part, but it wouldn't have happened if you didn't ask that question. And
you never know when people might actually just say yes, sure, go ahead. I have a lot of people ask me questions in the past, and I have said yes many, many times when they did not think. But to me, like, if you have the confidence to ask, you have much higher chance of not asking. And I think that has a lot to do with confidence. And the more you ask, the more confident you will be. The more you ask, the more comfortable you will be from asking. It's just that kind of cycle to build your confidence up.
Yeah, totally. It's just like exercising. The more you do it, the better you get at it. And, you just keep pushing forward. So thanks for sharing those tips. And if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do and check out some of your work, and I know you have a children's book that's out, if you could share that with us.
Yes, of course. I just put out two new books. I have an Asian holiday series where I feature Asian children and families in all of my books and how they celebrate the Lunar New Year, the Moon Festival, and the newest one I'm working on is the Dragon Boat Festival. It's a series of Asian holidays that are mainly for children from kindergarten, preschool, all the way to second grade. And now it's being used in many schools in Boston, Connecticut, and New York. But you can find me on my website at by Yobe Qiu, BY, and my first and last name, or on Facebook. I'm pretty big on Facebook, and I'm usually not on Instagram. I feel I'm a little too old for it, but I'm working on it.
Thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Yobe, you can also head on over to the taoofselfconfidence.com and search for Yobe's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else that we talked about. And I really just want to thank Yobe today for taking the time to share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much, Yobe.
Thank you so much, Sheena, for having me. This was really fun.
Not a problem. It was really great having you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Tao of Self-Confidence. Please subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify to get your daily boost of confidence.